Right?
Him first. I get it. He's not. Oh, you got yours first?
Yeah. We here? We ready to go?
Four.
What are these iPads for?
Last time I asked, they said they don't work yet.
Yeah, they don't work yet.
Who's that on the screen?
Jason and Chief.
Are we ready to go?
Yes.
Ah, you stole my gavel. All right. Was that you?
No, sir.
All right.
It was Derek.
Welcome to the Lancaster City Council meeting. I hope it wasn't too unbearable listening to this group before I got here.
Soliloquy.
All right. City Clerk, you want a roll call?
City Council Member, Agency
Here.
Director, Authority Member Doris. Someone's eager. Molly.
Present.
Man.
Present.
Vice
Ladies, I'm going to
Mayor.
have to apologize to our court here. They don't normally act this way. I'm not quite sure what's happening.
Yes, they do. Present.
Mayor Paris.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Maybe I wish we didn't. The invocation, Tony Herrera, Grace Chapel.
Father, we do thank you for today, Lord, and we thank you for the city that we live in. Lord, as the council meets today, Lord, I just pray that you would give them wisdom as they make decisions, Lord, for the city, for the best of the city. And I just pray that you would allow them to steward the things that you have given us well. Lord, I pray that the city would be a light to other cities around and other nations, Lord, because of what you're doing in this place. And so, Lord, give them wisdom as they have their meeting tonight, Lord. And I do just ask that you would be glorified by what happens here today and the decisions that they make. Jesus, we are grateful for the sacrifice that you have given your body, Lord. And we just ask that you would be glorified, Lord. Please bless these men and their families, Lord, and all of the people of this city. God, we ask for your blessing upon this city, Lord, especially as we go into the holiday season, as we remember your birth. Lord, I pray that you would be glorified. Thank you for these council members, and just, Lord, bless them and give them wisdom tonight. And I thank you for all of them and all of the people of this city, and I pray that you'd be glorified. And I pray all of these things in the precious name of Jesus. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Thank you.
Yep.
The right hand over your heart, and please join me for pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anything to be removed? City Manager? I lost my vice. What?
Yeah. He's getting dressed.
No need to remove any items, sir.
Okay. CC9 needs to be taken.
No, we've discussed that, and I think it's fine to go forward.
Okay, good. And we have a presentation by Bob Machuca, but it's on Zoom, right? Now,
Yeah, he's coming in from Zoom, so we'll let IT organize to get him on screen. I saw him there earlier.
hey, Bob, can you hear us?
Hi there. Yes, hi. Can you hear me okay?
Okay, you have the floor.
Thank you, and good evening. Actually, I'm here for Lyndon Johnson, who is your economic development representative on behalf of LA County, but he is away attending a conference up in Monterey. So, good evening, Mayor Paris and members of the City Council. On behalf of the Los Angeles County Economic Development Corporation, it is my pleasure to honor the City of Lancaster as a Gold Award recipient and finalist in the 2021 Most Business-Friendly City in Los Angeles County during and in response to COVID-19. And I might add, if my memory is correct, this is the 5th time since 2006 that Lancaster has been named a finalist, and three times has won the Most Business-Friendly City title in 2007, 2013, and 2019. In fact, no other of the 88 cities that have participated in this Most Business-Friendly City competition has won 3 times. I think there's another couple of cities that have won maybe twice, and I think that's El Segundo and maybe the city of Whittier, but no other city has won 3 times. So here's your chance again to make it 4 times. This award recognizes and celebrates Lancaster's demonstrated contributions to economic development in the region that have prioritized creating a supportive environment for business recovery, re-innovation, resiliency, and Lancaster is certainly doing great things in response to the pandemic. Our panel of judges who reviewed all were very impressed with your innovative and business-friendly programs and resources that you dedicated to support businesses during this pandemic recession. There's so many extraordinary things that Lancaster is doing. I read through your application, just unbelievable. The number of things are very, very impressive. But let me just kind of highlight a couple of them. Your Stand Strong Small Business Recovery and Loan Program. This is a great program that you started 8 days after the state of emergency was declared. A program geared towards small businesses and funding in as little as 7 days from the date of application. This is just extraordinary. Another program, Operation Jumpstart. This is a great program with the drastic drop in auto sales. The city found a way to produce a benefit by pumping money into the local economy, by offering Visa gift cards for purchases of new and used vehicles. I mean, a great program to drive millions of dollars into the local economy. Another program, we had Strong Reopening Assistance Program to aid businesses that needed equipment and to be in compliance with safety guidelines. The Restaurant Rescue Package, incredible, that helped businesses that had to close. A great program to keep restaurants, wineries, and breweries survive the pandemic. Great ones. Stay Strong, Stay Active, that allowed fitness-based businesses to continue operating despite various restrictions. I mean, these are just a few, looking at your application, of the great things that the city has done to be business-friendly. So the city of Lancaster, we at the LAADC, we applaud your efforts and we encourage you to continue developing and involving business-friendly services. As a private nonprofit organization, the LAADC just celebrated our 40th anniversary in history of driving action in support of a reimagined Los Angeles County economy that is growing, equitable, sustainable, and provides a healthy and high standard living for all. Just like it takes a great team at the LAADC to accomplish our mission and vision, we know this award was made possible by the city's visionary leadership and dedicated staff. Thank you so much. So, on behalf of the LAADC, I would like to present to the mayor and the city council with a certificate of gold honoring this accomplishment. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, evening, November the 10th, at the Eddie Awards celebration. It's going to be held at SoFi Stadium in the city of Inglewood. And I have here, I don't know if you can see it virtually, but I have a certificate. I know it's hard to see, but believe me, it's here. Believe me, it's here. And again, I just want to congratulate the city on a great application. Looking forward to seeing you make it 4 times, possibly. It's possible. Anyway, congratulations to you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We look forward to it tomorrow.
Thank you.
Are you going to ask him if the fire department's on the panel?
No, I'm not going to ask him if the fire department's on the panel. He's making a reference to our fireworks last year, but We can't hear you.
Muted.
Somebody muted
Oh,
you.
you need a panel of the panel of judges is made up of different economic developers throughout the region and county folks. And every year, at this panel, about maybe 10 judges that come together and they judge all the applications. And out of all the applications, there's only a select cities that are selected as finalists. And all the applications, all the cities that applied, the cream of the crop, 10 finalists were selected. There's 5 top cities that have large categories of residents. I think the cutoff is 60,000 or more residents, and then 5 that have under 60,000 or more residents. And you are in the large city category. So again, a great I looked through your application. It's just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know who the winner is going to be tomorrow night. Honestly, I don't know. But I mean, looking at your application, I mean, you could possibly be a 4-time winner. But I'll keep quiet. I'll keep quiet.
I hope you're one of the voters. Thanks. See?
Thank you.
Good thing when the fire department's not there.
I think the fire department's okay with me. They liked 4th of July. I mean, they just had to do what the supervisor said. Isn't that right?
Did we put the fireworks in on the application? Oh, we did. No, that we left that out. Ooh,
Now,
okay.
if the public health people were on it, we might have a problem. Okay, let's move on. Why do we have the court here? Why do we have the Queens here? Are we doing something with them?
The Queens have submitted public comment cards.
Oh, okay.
They're going to talk to us about the cigarettes.
About the what?
The cigarettes.
About smoking.
Cigarettes. You're too young to smoke. Okay, I can't wait. All right, moving on. COVID-19 pandemic updates and actions.
Tron will get started, and then we'll give a quick update on some of the vaccines.
Hi, good evening. I have mostly good news and great news at this point. It looks like things are going very well. I'll go through the numbers just to be thorough, but for the most part, I think we're doing quite well. First slide, please. Oh, I have the remote. So if you look at what's happening throughout the world, there is a slight uptick in cases throughout the world, particularly in Europe and Russia. So what's happening is Russia has its own vaccine, the Sputnik, and Europe has the AstraZeneca for the most part. And their vaccines aren't as efficacious, really, as what we have with Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson. But also their vaccination rates are not as high. And so they are now seeing a fourth phase, a fourth spike. And so that's why we got to be careful. It's the same virus, the same Delta, nothing new. But Delta is really taking longer to get out of Europe. The United States, we are doing better, but we're still in the orange range. Okay, next slide is what's happening in the U.S. As you can see from the 7-day graph, it looks like things are trending down much better. Our cases are lower, our tests are more positive, and hospitalizations are also dropping 14%. Deaths also dropping 19%. Now, if you look at which states are involved, it's more the middle part of the country. You get Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico are the states that are now seeing spikes in cases. But even then, it's still pretty decent compared to what's happened a couple of weeks ago. Oh, Alaska too. Alaska is the highest in terms of cases per 100,000. California is doing quite well. Over the past week, there has been a slight uptick. So we're seeing more cases, but we're not seeing more hospitalizations. So the vaccination is helping. You get the infection, you get some illness, but you're not sick enough to be hospitalized. So we see 13% in 14-day increase, 14 days of cases, and these are the numbers that follow through. Northern California, Modoc County, east of us, Inyo, San Bernardino, and Imperial County are the ones that are seeing the most numbers. LA, Orange, San Diego, pretty much light in terms of per 100,000. This is LA County. As you can see, again, cases are trickling up. Over the weekend, 1153 per 100,000, and so far year to date in LA County, 1.5 million cases. Numbers continue to trend down, hospitalizations, deaths, etc. Now this map to the right, it's a heat map. Basically, the more red, the more orange the county, the higher likelihood of you getting infection if you're not vaccinated. So it's still a lot. If you're not vaccinated, you're still at moderate risk. What we're seeing now is pretty much this disease is a disease of the unvaccinated or the under-vaccinated. You could get your 2 vaccine series, but if you have underlying illness, a weakened immune system on treatment, you probably need your 3rd shot if you haven't done it yet. But if you kept at the 2, after 6 months, your antibody level is not adequate enough to cover you from getting infected. So yes, we're seeing under-vaccinated and unvaccinated patients for the most part in the hospital. Thank you, Jason, for these numbers. This is Lancaster number as of today, and as you can see, again, the blue line tells you the number of infections, and it is trickling up again. So we're good, but we're not completely out of the woods. And the map to the right is the color map of number of infections, and we're pretty much similar to the rest of LA. The beach cities have always done well, very favorable. So what's the forecast? This is the CDC's national forecast, predicting further drop or flattening out as of November 27th, around Thanksgiving. And for LA County, the prediction's a little bit off, different. It's not completely down. It's kind of mixed, and it looks like it'd probably be an increase or flat or an increase, but not in terms of hospitalization, more like illness, keeping you at home, keeping you from going to work, rather than true hospitalizations. So how do we beat this? We beat this with vaccinations and treatment. So far, there's been increased interest in vaccinations. As you can see, the graph now shows 1.28 million average daily doses. It used to be in the 700,000 range. And if you recall, it used to be 3 to 4 million doses back in April. Most of the country, we're now fully vaccinated at 58%. And if this trend continues, we should reach our 70 herd immunity around December the 9th, the first week of December. With the recent, now this graph doesn't have the data on the children, because children were recently approved, as you remember, from 5-year-old to 11-year-old. So, and children make up 25% of the population, and we probably will reach herd immunity once more kids are vaccinated. This is the vaccination, LA County vaccination site. We are now, as in LA County, at 72% fully vaccinated. So for the most part, LA County, by numbers at least, has reached herd immunity. Very favorably, patients over age 65, 85% fully vaccinated. So we, to be honest, I don't see over 65-year-olds much in the hospital anymore as compared to, say, April or August when we had the 2 surges. So some very striking data from the LA County vaccination website. 5.9 million fully vaccinated, 68,000 tested positive out of the 5.9 million. They also got, but it's only 1.2% tested positive. Of that, 2,300 and change were hospitalized. But again, if you look at the number, it's less than 0.039%. It's less than 0.04%. And of that, we actually had 379 deaths out of all the vaccinated patients. And again, the decimal point is 3 zeros, 4 zeros after the. So it's a very favorable situation to be if you are vaccinated. Your risk of death, hospitalization, and illness is under 2% in general. And then this is our Lancaster specific numbers. We are at 56.7% of the population. We're generally 15 to 20 points behind the county, percentage points. But look at our 65 plus, 80%. So we've reached a very favorable number with our over 65s. So two better news is the Merck and the Pfizer drugs. I mentioned this in a previous meeting. Merck announced that their new drug, molnupiravir, basically reduced hospitalization and death by 50%. And based on their 700 patients study, 7% of patients who received the molnupiravir were hospitalized when they follow patients for 29 days, and that's 28 over 385. The ones that received placebo, 14%, so double the number of people who received placebo ended up being hospitalized for moderate illness. And these are patients who weren't just hospitalized and have no other illness. They usually had something else. They had diabetes, hypertension, on renal dialysis, on things like that. So they're more likely to worsen the disease. And the placebo patients, 100%, 14% of them got sicker. The study was so striking, the results were so striking that the advisory committee, the independent advisory committee, asked the Merck company to stop the study because the placebo people were not doing well, and it's unethical to continue a study if you know the data is so clear. So subsequently, they applied for emergency use with the FDA, and it will probably be another 4 to 6 months to get early approval. So this compound, basically, the way it works, it mimics cytidine and uridine. These are the two compounds that the virus uses to multiply, to build its RNA chain. And basically, it fakes it, and so now once the virus incorporates this molnupiravir compound, basically it kills itself. It can't multiply, and it's a lethal mutation. So it's very effective and very rapid. Viruses, the average virus multiplies about 3 billion copies a day, and once it can't multiply anymore, it cannot spread. So that's really good news, and that comes about 4 weeks before the Pfizer drug. Pfizer on the Friday last week also announced another drug called Paxlovid. It's basically numerical PF073 and change, plus ritonavir. So this compound, they did studies in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia. 45% of these patients in the study enrolled were in the United States. And basically, they gave the patient the drug or the placebo, and they followed them for 29 days, just like the other study. And they compared patients who received the drug versus placebo. And this is a very busy slide, but I'll go back to it. So basically, 0.8% of patients who received the Paxlovid ended up getting hospitalized. That's 3 out of 389. But 7%, almost 10 times that, who received the placebo were either hospitalized or expired. So mathematically, it's about a close to 90% reduction in the risk of COVID-related hospitalizations and death if you receive this compound. The nice thing about these two drugs is they are oral. You take it 1 tablet twice a day for 5 days, and that's it. And it's able to, so you don't need to be in the emergency room receiving an antibody infusion. You don't need to be hospitalized receiving the IV remdesivir. So this is really a game changer based on the early preliminary data. Going back to the slide, it looks like this. This is the compound Paxlovid. They add ritonavir to it, so the two together, basically, when a virus multiplies, it extends the RNA, and the RNA is converted to protein, and the protein is used to assemble the virus. Well, what this drug does, it's a protease inhibitor. So the virus uses the human body's protease enzyme to clip it, to cut the protein so that it can change the shape and make its own virus. So the drug comes in and prevents the scissor, the protease inhibitor, from working. So now the virus keeps making protein, but it can't cleave, it can't cut to assemble itself. So then it basically cannot multiply. So you have this treatment that's really unique. The first drug prevents RNA production. The second drug prevents protein synthesis. So the two together is really potent. And there's no study right now putting the two together. But I bet you that's the next study, to see if taking both drugs at the same time will basically be even better. But the fact that you're at 89%, 90% efficacy, I'm not sure how much efficacy, more efficacy do you need? And can you imagine if you had the vaccine and you got sick, right, 2%, then you take this drug, 90%. I think this is over. This is a really game changer. We're at a point in our pandemic that we're actually making inroads in this. Really good news.
Have they released those drugs yet?
I'm sorry?
Do you have those drugs yet?
No, we don't. They're both in U.S., so it should be maybe 4 to 6 months if the data continues to be, be this robust. But yeah, these are just, I went over the slides. So to summarize, we now have a lot of tools. I mean, Dr. Stock and I presented here many times, and at one point we had nothing. We just had guesses. We were guessing that ivermectin worked, or vitamin C, or zinc. We just didn't know what we had, but now we have a lot of tools. And so just to review, the first 5 days, so the day of infection is considered day 0. Then the first 5 days you incubate. That's when the virus is synthesizing its RNA, packaging it in its protein, right? It's multiplying 3+ billion copies per day. Then your body begins to get the infection. You get the prodrome. You get the fever, cough, shortness of breath, loss of taste, loss of smell. After that, by the 10th day, this is when it snowballs, right? Now you have significant inflammation, and that's when your lungs begin to get inflamed severely and you get short of breath. So most people present to us at this middle stage, not up here. So here, then within a few days, you continue to progress and you develop severe acute disease, acute respiratory failure, ICU, and if you recover by the second week, you convalesce, right? You recover, or you get you basically death. And then after that, another 3 days more, and basically from 0 day to 22 days, a 3-week illness, and that's why we stopped checking you for your virus after 20 days, pretty much. So now with what we have a lot of tools. We now have at the incubation prodrome, when the virus is multiplying, we now can give you antibody transfusions, which we are. We have remdesivir at that point. It's an antiviral. We have monoclonal antibody infusions that bind the virus, prevent it from binding your cells. Merck now will produce molnupiravir, and Pfizer putting out Paxlovid plus ritonavir. So really a lot of tools for us to use. And if you get really sick, we have dexamethasone, which is a very powerful drug to prevent inflammation from progressing. And then we have the immune modulators like tocilizumab and baricitinib, which Dr. Stock and I use on a regular basis. Really, it's also very effective is before you get your infection, before day 0, by getting the vaccine, you actually don't get the infection. So we have a very complete package of response to this virus. And things like hand washing, mask wearing, distancing, that still applies. But in case you don't get through that, we have, and you ended up here, we have ways to help you. And that ends the good news.
So why are we still wearing masks?
Because you can still carry the infection and not know it. So you have the vaccine. You're the 2% that got the infection. You're asymptomatic. Now you're spewing viruses in the first 5 to 10 days. And if someone is near you who's not vaccinated, or is sick, or under-vaccinated, you can actually spread the infection to them. So when you're indoors, the recommendation remains to wear your mask, just so that you can protect other people. Not so much for yourself, it's to protect other people around you.
So we all have to wear these masks because of the people who won't go get vaccinated. Is that what you're telling me?
That's the reason why, correct.
Oh,
Or,
I see.
or also whose immune system may not be working very well.
I'm sorry, what?
Tiffany, yeah, go
Or
ahead.
also for people whose immune system may not be working very well. So those immune compromised folks who had 2 vaccines and a booster, they still have a higher risk of contracting the virus even with 3 doses.
Right.
You're covering for the anti-vaxxers, aren't you?
Mayor, let me, I agree with Tiffany and Jonathan. And Jonathan, as usual, is the good cop, and I'm going to be the bad cop, the nagging voice that you really don't want to listen to, but is in the back of your head. So I'm going to make a small presentation here. There's a lot of good information there, which is all true, but I want to highlight some of the things that are said there. Compared to LA County and the USA, our 12 and up vaccine rate is lagging in Lancaster. In fact, 12 and up in the USA, vaccine rate is 68%, LA County 72%, Lancaster 56.7%. That's not good enough. Okay, it's just not good enough. Now, everybody who has chosen not to get vaccinated at this point, can make a choice. But one, you have a choice about your own health, and there's layers of protection you could do as far as masking, distancing, and trying to stay healthy, hand washing. Getting vaccinated is really the thing that's a game changer. All those other things that are on there, the Pfizer, the Merck, they're going to be out in 6 months. This is after the winter that's bearing down on us right now. We're about to get into the holiday season, times when people get together inside, the cold weather. People are going to get together with their families, with groups, and this is when transmission occurred last year. Last year, we had a group, thank God, who came and rescued us from Samaritan's Purse. That's not going to happen this year. So our hospitals are brimming right now. It's not just our hospital, it's every hospital in the country is brimming full of patients. We're short on staff for a variety of COVID reasons, related reasons, and therefore anything that happens above that right now is going to tip us over the top. So what I would say is that if you are currently fully vaccinated and you perceive that you're one of the probably 2/3 of the country that is either overweight or obese or has an illness or has immune compromise or 65 or older, go get a booster right now. And you'll be fully protected. You'll now be fully vaccinated. You'll be fully immunized again because of waning immunity. If you're partially vaccinated, you've gotten one vaccine, let's say, with the Pfizer and Moderna, get your second shot. And it's time to get fully vaccinated. If you have the Johnson & Johnson, get your booster. If you haven't yet gotten vaccinated, but you're thinking about it, please get vaccinated. This is the time to do it, because right now is the time you want to be immune before you go into this winter. And if you're newly eligible, if you're an adolescent, you're a child, it's time to get vaccinated. Talk to your parents about that. If you've had COVID, there's sort of a myth out there that if you had COVID, and many people in our community had COVID last winter. That's when the big peak was. So, right? And you think, well, I had COVID. I don't need to get vaccinated because I'm immune. Not so fast. Your immunity has waned. You are not protected right now, okay? Your immunity waned after about 6 months, okay? So you could get COVID again. Of all the people that I've heard who have COVID who weren't vaccinated, which are most of the people in the hospital, I've never once heard someone say, I'm really happy I didn't get vaccinated. Almost invariably they said, I wish I had been vaccinated. And they wish they had been vaccinated for themselves and their family. So this is the time. Please protect yourself. I also want to tie this, and again, I see people as individuals. We see all of us see patients. But to the extent this matters, we are seeing vaccines by demographic groups. Right now, 12 and up, rates of vaccination in Asians in LA County, 77%, Caucasians, 69%, African Americans, 51%, Latinos, 57%. And you'd say, well, that's people's choices. Well, it's connected to death rate. We have the death rate in LA County overall, 244 patients per 100,000 population. In whites, 139. In Asians, 170. In African Americans, 246, and Latinos, 391. So the Latino rate of death is 3 times higher that of the Caucasians. So this matters. Every one of us as an individual, let's make a good choice for ourselves. Okay. And again, the other thing from looking from a community viewpoint, because we're here to protect the community, not only give advice, but if you come in having a heart attack or you need your appendix removed, and there's no beds, it doesn't matter if you got vaccinated or not, that somebody is using that bed who needed it because they had COVID. So again, we want to have that resource available for everybody in a smooth fashion so everybody gets what they need. So we all have to do what we can to protect ourselves and stay healthy.
I concur. I have to say, the tent that came to help us back in February, it was amazing. We were really down and out. We had people flowing out of the, lining in the hallways because and rooms are just taken up, and nurses, doctors, pharmacists, all exhausted, code after code. We just didn't have any more resource. And that tent came in and took easily 40 cases out of the hospital. And they brought their own doctors, their own nurses, their own pharmacists, their own medicine. So everything is like, it was just an amazing, it's like the third booster shot. It was like, wow. And it gave us time to concentrate on the very ill in the ICU. And the moderately ill, they basically took over. So that group they really saved us, really saved the city.
Which we need to acknowledge somehow. That was Franklin Graham's Samaritan's Purse. Paul Chappell at Lancaster Baptist was responsible for getting him here. And, it truly was a gift from God.
It's quite a gift. Right.
And we're going to deal with that. We're going to acknowledge that at some point. I'm waiting to be able to do it when people don't have to wear masks, which means if other people would just get vaccinated, we could go back to normal. And I really don't know how much choice people have when they're provided with clearly erroneous information and a clear fear campaign is for whatever reason evolved in social media, and then we have elected officials saying it's baloney. A vaccine is just baloney. Isn't that what he said?
What, who said?
A neighboring mayor. We have an obligation, and I don't see how we're fulfilling it this way. But thank God for you guys. I can't tell you what a blessing it's been to have you with our city. I think you saved countless number of people's lives, because we wouldn't have been able to organize the way we did without you.
I want to say I think the city council and mayor have done everything, and city manager. The city, everybody up here has done everything above and beyond any city I've seen in LA County to address this with the community. And I don't know what else anyone could do. So I think it's down to people's personal choices, but your choices are, make them informed choices. Don't make your decision off of Facebook or other types of social media. If you want to do your own research, then do real research. Go look at the CDC website. Go read the papers. There's a big papers came out about the VA today that showed exactly what Dr. Trong has been saying up there, is that immunity wanes. If you had COVID, more than 6 months ago, you are not protected right now. And if you had your last shot more than 6 months ago, it's a good time to get a booster. That's what the paper showed.
Okay, well, we're
Can
just
I
going to
add
have to
something,
weather the
Rick
storm. What?
Can I add something before we move on?
Sure. Why aren't you here?
Because I got stuck in clinic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the numbers of outpatient COVID cases that we're seeing is going up. And so I do just want to remind everybody and encourage everyone, if you spike a fever, if you start feeling really run down, you lose your sense of smell or your sense of taste, or you start coughing, before you get to the place where you're short of breath and having chest tightness and chest discomfort, call your primary care doctor, please. Most of the primary care doctors and urgent cares out here at this point are doing telemedicine as well as in-person visits. And so there is somebody somewhere who will be able to take care of you. And there's a lot of advice and pointers as far as taking care of yourself early on in this illness to hopefully help prevent you from having to end up in the ER or admitted to the hospital. And so please I just want to encourage everybody, as I'm seeing more and more of my patients having to end up in the hospital, just please call your doctor sooner than later. Don't wait. You know, it's similar to the flu in that way. Most of us remember the flu at this point, and with Tamiflu, the medicine for influenza, you know, it's only really effective in those first 48 to 72 hours. And so it's always been something I've taught my patients. If you get the flu, you let me know right away so we can start treatment. The same thing is true here. If you get COVID, or at this point, if you get a cold, call your doctor right away so they can help you manage your symptoms sooner.
Thank you. You know, the upside to all of this, it's focused our attention on the health needs of the community. We'll be announcing progress in building a new hospital, and the city will be a partner in that. We're making a lot of progress. We just need everybody to recognize they're part of the community, and we all have community obligations, whether we like it or not. You know, hopefully that'll occur. I am impressed with how the city came together, how the two cities came together, how everybody joined in on this when it was, and I don't want to lose that spirit of cooperation and advancement. So, thank you.
Sir, one last point. Often, you know, where youth is glorified in our culture. This is time we should really look to our elders, our seniors, for wisdom, because they are showing wisdom in our community. They're the only group that have gotten sufficiently vaccinated as a whole. So I just took my 89-year-old father and my 86-year-old mother to get their third shot and their flu shot. They got one in each arm. So if they're tough enough to get it, I think everyone else in this community is tough enough to get it.
We can get flu shots the same time we get a COVID shot?
Yes, you can.
I don't have to wait 2 weeks?
Nope.
Nope.
That's good to hear.
Double up.
I know when you gave me the booster, I had a sore arm, but that was all. I didn't have any symptoms.
Yeah, the Moderna is the one that has a lot of side effects. The Pfizer is less, and the Johnson hardly any. Johnson & Johnson hardly any.
Okay, good. That's good to know. All right. Shall we move on? Do I got to do anything?
Yeah, just real quick on the vaccination updates. I'll run through them quickly. The fairgrounds is open again November 3rd, or it has opened November 3rd for all shots. That's Moderna, Pfizer, and Johnson & Johnson boosters, as well as 5 and up can now get vaccinated there as well. So that's fully open. We've been doing vaccination clinics at our events. So one of your former deputy mayors got his booster shot at the beer festival this weekend. So you can get your shot and a beer at the same time.
Daryl, was that you?
It wasn't Daryl.
Don't you put that out there.
And the elementary schools have been participating as well. So on 11:15, Eastside Elementary will be having their flu shot clinic or their COVID clinic. Lancaster Elementary on 11/6, Wilsona School District 11/12, and Knight High School 11/6, and Little Rock High School on 11/6 as well. So the schools are participating as well. Not to mention the county, the pharmacist, everything else. There is no reason not to get a shot, and those opportunities exist. Quick note on the hospital numbers, just to back up what the doctors mentioned. There's 29 people in house that have COVID at the hospital. One of those hospitalized has been vaccinated. So You can see the magnitude of that impact. And then there's 32 ICU beds available, and 7 of those are COVID patients. So you can see the magnitude of what, the ICU that they're taking up. So get vaccinated.
So are they busy? The vaccination centers? I mean,
I would say no. They're going to get busier with the five-year-old and up. But yeah, they're not as busy as they should be and could be. Availability is not an issue.
For the 5-year-olds and up. Any idea?
Incentivize the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, you incentivize the parents because the parents have to take the kids there and have to approve of it. So find ways to incentivize the parents.
We should have a Santa Claus there.
That's a good idea.
Dr. Stock, you in? You can, you want to get a wish, you got to get a shot.
We could theme it, we could theme it around Christmas.
Yeah,
That's good. I mean,
the incentives we've done, although important, I think people have made decisions on whether they're in or out, and I don't know that money is something like this. It's a very difficult. It's a difficult message.
well, I think there's certainly a group that has made that decision, that they're out and they're going to resist it no matter what. And okay, life is what it is. I don't have to understand it. But I think there's also, especially with the Latino population, there's just a convenience aspect. It's how to get there. It's, there's obstacles that may not exist. I mean, with one group, it's a political statement. With the other group, I think it's an education statement and getting it to them, or getting it so that they can get it. So let's just not drop this. Let's keep staff working on.
We keep pushing for sure.
I mean, we got the most creative city in the world. I truly believe that. I mean, this staff is unbelievable. Even with you, Jason. I couldn't help it.
I agree with you completely.
I want to keep us moving on coming up with incentives to target the population that is not the ones who just have a position they're not going to come off of. I don't want that political position to we just assume that applies to everyone. I don't think it does. Are the schools doing anything to make it available at the schools?
Yeah, I listed the school sites that are having them on school grounds and giving the vaccines on school grounds.
All right, good. We just got to get through the next 6 months, because then those drugs will come online, and
Yep.
you want to get sick, go get sick. I don't care. I just don't want you dying in the hospital. I mean, isn't that really where we want to be? All right. Thanks. Thank you, doctor. We're good. You guys ought to see the hospital that's coming. Wow. Is that enough of a teaser?
Yep.
Okay.
Motion to approve ED 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'll second that motion.
Let's vote. I've voted. Passes unanimously. All right. Consent calendar. Anything to be removed?
None.
No, don't forget the speaker cards. We have the.
Right, we need to take speaker cards on the consent calendar before we vote, and also there is a correction for item CC 10. The agenda listing on the agenda itself has a typo. The correct numbers are in the staff report provided in your packet.
Okay, I didn't do public comment on the ED1,
Yes, we do need to do public comment on ED1.
so we're going to have to revote, right?
We are going to have to revote, my apologies.
Okay. So is there public comment on ED1?
No speaker cards.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on ED1 or the consent calendar, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press star 9 at this time if you wish to comment on ED1 or the consent calendar. Caller with the last 4 digits, 1778. Please press star 6 to unmute yourself. Caller with the last 4 digits, 1778. Please press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Hello?
We can hear you. You may proceed.
Okay. Oh, I want to comment on that, the whole segment y'all were talking about with the vaccine. Can I?
Yes?
You can
All
proceed.
right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I got 5 siblings, elementary school. They all, my mom has had the vaccine, 2. She still got hit with COVID. If you look at the studies that Child Health Defense Bears, it shows that the vaccines aren't effective. And if you look at the studies in Israel, it's the most vaccinated country, and they still, they're still on the highest rate of COVID cases. I know y'all say y'all want the best for the public, but I don't think promoting this is the right thing. And I come in peace. I speak for we the people, because if people don't stand up for these kids, it's not going to be. It's just over with, you know. And nowadays, with what's going on, there's cases of a lot of these kids just having bad side effects from it, and then someone has to speak on that. And then that's the reality of it, and I'm here to do that. And I'm saying that if you look at the real statistics, it shows. And then it's been like a couple months now with this, not even a year, and it doesn't show like progression. Vaccines are supposed to stop it, but this doesn't do that. And that's what I'm saying. Why push something that doesn't work? And that's, you know, I come in peace, not trying to, you know, start fires. I'm just saying, speaking the truth to the council, because a lot of people are scared. They're scared, and then they don't know what to do. And when they do something in emotion, they'll do something it's for the wrong, and then they'll fall into something that's not right. I know people personally that got damaged by it, and that's why I'm coming to call and speaking, because it's not right. Kids shouldn't be doing that. And the thing y'all did last week with the money, to give kids money to do that just shows it all. That's not right. It's not good. So I just wanted to speak that, and I'm going to continue to call, continue to speak my voice, because that's what we got. That's what we people got to start doing to every local government, every city council, all around, everywhere. And you know, that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No other speakers at this time.
Thank you. So,
Motion to approve ED 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And I'll second that motion again.
let's vote. Will nobody change their vote?
I'm just curious. I mean, he said Israel in the report, and people, is that a true statement that he made, or is he just talking from just another social media thing?
So the New England Journal published 2 very large articles out of Israel, looking at all the side effects, even in children, and they found that there was a small number. I think there's like 23 out of 800 or something like that, 800,000. In any event, they had patients, young children who had the viral myocarditis, the most feared side effect, but no one died, and they all were able to leave the hospital within 3 days. But it was there, and the CDC and the WHO has reviewed the data, and they say that the risk of children severely affected by COVID is a lot higher than the risk of getting getting myocarditis from the vaccines. So despite that, they recommended going forward with the approval. If you recall the debate from the advisory council regarding the vaccine for children, there were 17 people on that committee, all experts in their field. Of the 17, 16 voted yes, and 1 abstained. So there was near unanimous for getting the vaccine to children. So when they're quoting kids getting sick, it is true, but it is not at the at the level where that prevents people from getting the vaccines. So really, and that came out of Israel, and in fact that was the data set that compelled the team, the advisory committee, to push for and to approve yes on this for children. They looked at that in particular.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It has to be frustrating for you. It is for me. I mean, but I'm not seeing the patients. I mean, it's arithmetic. I mean, for heaven's sakes, this many people die without it. This many people die with it. The numbers aren't the same. I mean, they're vastly different. It's simple arithmetic. All right, let's move on. Consent calendar. Anything to pull?
No speaker cards.
Allison about to say something to us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With regard to item CC 10, if the council would please move that item with the approval of applying to HCD for funding under the Calhoun project in the amount of $4,500,000, not $4,050,000, which is the typo that is on the agenda, but it is correctly stated in the staff report.
Okay.
So
we
with
don't have
that,
to
we
pull
should
it.
solicit public comment. We do not need to pull it.
Okay.
But with that, we should solicit public comment on the phone, and then we can vote.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on the consent calendar, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press star 9 at this time if you wish to comment on the consent calendar. No speakers at this time.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the consent calendar is currently comprised.
Second that?
With
the
the
correction.
amendment to item CC 10 as noted?
Yes. Oh, your motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I second that.
We all good? Let's vote. It's unanimous. In B1,
Hey, hello, everybody. Good
we missed
evening.
you. We haven't heard from you for a while. I was afraid maybe you went on vacation. You know.
That a very long and extended vacation.
Yeah.
No, I've been around. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For your approval tonight is a contract with PowerFlex for the deployment of a 500 kilowatt hour battery for Lancaster City Hall, as well as the appropriation for funding for the project. There we go. In the event of an emergency or global crisis, such as we've recently experienced with the COVID-19 pandemic, Lancaster City Hall's primary function will be to serve as an emergency operations center. Communications equipment, computers, and protocols have been established to help our city staff support our local first responders as well as the community throughout any event that could potentially happen. Staff began exploring funding and partnership opportunities which could support the development of a battery for City Hall. This would allow us to keep our doors open during critical times and would allow us to, for there not to be a lapse in any of the work that needs to happen here at City Hall. Through that research, staff discovered the CPUC's Self-Generation Incentive Program, or SGIP. In order for the city to apply for SGIP funding, a contract partner would need to be identified. PowerFlex and the city agreed to partner together for the deployment of a battery, and a program application was submitted to the CPUC in 2020. In 2021, the city received confirmation that we were approved for $421,000 for the deployment of a battery here at City Hall. After receiving approval from SGIP, PowerFlex and the city began working on project plans and agreed on a 500 kilowatt hour battery to support and energize the building in the event of a grid outage. In addition to supporting the building when those grid outages or potential grid outages take place on a normal, non-emergency day, the city would benefit from the battery through a reduction in the building's peak demand, because the battery would be programmed to automatically discharge power whenever a spike in usage occurs. This would help reduce the city's demand charges and therefore save the city money each month. Additionally, the city will have the ability to take advantage of energy arbitrage by charging the battery during the morning when the lower price hours are, when we have lower price energy hours, and then to discharge the battery in the evening during the peak hours when we see those spiking in prices occur. PowerFlex estimates that the city will save on average $18,000 annually through peak demand shaving as well as energy arbitrage. There are also plans to incorporate the city's hydrogen efforts with the City Hall battery. Staff is currently working toward the deployment of the H21TM here at City Hall, which will serve as a 3-in-1 system to provide resiliency as well as redundancy. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Good job.
Great.
So how long does the battery last?
It's 2 hours. So the maximum output for the battery is 250 kilowatts. So if you basically, almost like a faucet, if you turn it and you discharge it, you would get 2 hours, which would get you to that 500 kilowatt hour, which is the size of the battery.
No, how long does it last? I mean, how old is it?
Oh, sorry. 10 to typically 10 years.
Okay. So does it amortize out?
Yes, it does.
So net savings in the
There's net savings. There's different benefits that we could look at. There's RA. We have the peak demand and the energy arbitrage, which I mentioned, in addition to, just supporting the building and keeping it open, keeping our doors open during those emergency and grid outages. We would be basically an islandable microgrid.
So only for 2 hours?
Well, that's the battery itself. But if you work the battery with the solar system as well as our generator, we would be operational 24 hours a day.
Without the grid?
Correct.
But it's only 2 hours.
But if you take into consideration the generator as well as the solar and all of it together, it all works cohesively for a 24-hour operation.
So
I'm
we'll
sorry?
be piggybacking on, is that what one is feeding the other to keep something going?
Yes, so the solar is charging during the, when the sun is out, and that's feeding the battery, so we're not using the battery. We have the generator, which helps support the whole system. So it's basically, those 2 hours that you get from the battery, but then you have all the other pieces that are working cohesively together. And that doesn't include the hydrogen as well when we build that out at some point.
So when the hydrogen comes in, can we just go off the grid?
That would be the goal, yeah.
As long as it's not 2 hours.
Whether there's a disaster or not, we're just off the grid?
We're off the grid, exactly.
Wow. No wonder Edison hates me.
I don't think that's the only reason.
Well, that is fabulous. You have done amazing things. I want you to know that. They don't go unnoticed. They're creative. They're out of the box. I mean, don't be going anywhere else, okay? We need you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there's no speaker cards. Do we have to vote on this?
We do need to vote on this, and we do need to take public comment first.
Okay.
At this time, anyone wishing to come in on NB1, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press star 9 at this time if you wish to comment on NB1. No speakers at this time.
Motion to approve NB 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I second that.
Let's vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Okay, council reports. CR1.
I have a council report, a couple from the High Desert Corridor. From our meeting in October the 14th, we received correspondence on the following the JPA comments on to California High-Speed Rail Authority, a letter to the Federal Railroad Administration requesting environmental team to initiate the consultation process for the August 23rd, 2021, which was already done. We also approved the director's support services contract with AVS Consulting, and a lot of other housekeeping. We received an update for the Metro High Desert Intercity High-Speed Rail Service funding and plan for the Metro for the 138 highway update. Public review period closed in September. Technical team is addressing and received comments and concerns. Metro December board report to request for the EIR certification. Also on the SCAG report, I guess I started a little dust storm because I'm used to how we do things in Lancaster. We don't need a bunch of reports to get something done. And so my team that I work with the city, we asked the question, why are we doing another report when we already have reports of where the choke points are and what's going on? And now they're about to do another report. And when I said that, it opened the floodgates of other cities saying, yeah, we have this report ready already, and we have this report. And then the second question was, are you going to give us monies to fix what we already know? So I basically, along with our Palmdale family and Santa Clarita family, we said, look, we have major choke points on the 5 and 14 freeway. We know this already. Why are we still doing reports? So
Somebody's got to pay those bureaucrats.
yeah, I guess so. So that was another thing we got into. There's another issue on the board that they pushed back because this meeting was almost 3 hours on the SCAG. They might be trying to introduce tolls. I'm not sure yet. And we are totally against that, of course, especially for the 14 freeway. So that's something I'm going to tackle and fight vehemently to make sure that that does not happen. So
Why are we against that?
tolls?
Yeah.
The gas is already $1,000 a gallon, Rex. And then you got car repairs coming up and down the freeway. You have I don't see how they would justify tolls, and then it just backs up even more. It's another choke point. I don't see the benefit in putting tolls on our 14 freeway at all.
Well, wait a minute. My understanding of how the tolls work is that you build the freeway for them.
We have money for freeways. They're putting it towards this bullet train. I'll let Marvin take that fight. We have money for the freeways. They just keep appropriating it for other things.
It's not staying in the valley. And when you say reports, you actually mean studies.
Yeah, studies.
The studies that we have, the NCTC has done all the studies for the choke points on the 14 freeway, and it's just duplication of SCAG, the High Desert Corridor. Gerald, you want to go through the High Desert Corridor as far as the train is going to Rancho Cucamonga instead of Palmdale?
Yeah, they changed it. Instead of going through Palmdale, they wanted to run through the El Cajon Pass, and it messed up their funding, trying to be greedy that way. And so I'm new on this, but I'm finding out a lot of the mistakes that were made, and me and Marvin are kind of double teaming. And so I pushed for NCTC to be a part of this new study, which Marsha was very appreciative of. And it's just a lot of bureaucratic, like he said, red tape. It's not making sense to me. And you know me, Rex. You know, I'm just.
Those studies cost millions of dollars.
And it's a waste of time.
I agree.
It's a waste of time.
We actually tried to get them to use the IBM Watson to do the studies because they can actually survey it. But they're not that progressive.
I mean, you're talking about they want to do a study to find out what slows down the traffic? I mean, we do that with IBM Watson, right?
We do it here.
Yeah. I mean, we do it every day if we want it. I mean, we've already paid for it, right? Doesn't cost us more to do it.
Yeah, but Daryl's right. The NCTC, we'd already done a study's already been bought, paid for, choke points identified. and we don't need another group.
Hey, maybe we do, but maybe they could pay the city of Lancaster to do it for them through IBM Watson.
Good idea.
I mean,
Well, why don't we just take the money and fix it? That's what we should do. Take the money and repair it.
Well, I told them about the choke points that we've already, the Sand Canyon, Escondida, Summit, the Pearl Blossom Highway. I mean, it's already done. And then other cities jumped on it and said, hey, we've already done it in our city. We've already, so, it kind of opened up the floodgates for, I didn't mean to jump on the young lady. She was so sweet, and it's not her fault. But it's just, it's a lot of, just doesn't make sense. I'm a simple man.
They send somebody who's nice and sweet looking
Oh.
to deliver the bad news,
Yes.
so you don't say anything.
Right.
That's an LA County trick. We know that one.
So, and Daryl, you want to go over instead of the tolls, it's actually a VMT tax.
Right.
And the VMT tax is,
Well, we didn't get into it because they pushed it back to January. So when I get into it, then I'll come back again with what they're exactly. But yes, my team was, they've
We're all
already.
going to be dead by the time that train gets built. You know that. Not just us, you guys too. You're all.
Well, that's what I said. I said I didn't want my son being his grandkids coming up, and they, felt that was a little facetious. But I'm like, it's the truth.
I know.
So.
Okay. All right. Any other reports?
Yes, I do. So we had a medical Main Street meeting, and it went really well. So they're hoping to start in 2022. Master plan has been finalized. Economic reports has been done. And all the safety plans and during the construction or after that is this report actually meeting was really useful, and it was really good. So what I was really excited, got excited that the new construction job is going to be 11,800. Like, that's how many jobs going to from the construction jobs, and operational
That's a
jobs.
pretty big project.
So the operational job is going to be almost 2,800 jobs after that. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
And after that, I think our staff's going to review it, and then it's going to come to us. And we're going to finalize it, and then it's going to good to go.
So when do you anticipate we're up and running?
Up and running, well, you've got many phases of it. One is the first phase is the construction of infrastructure, which we anticipate to begin this coming April. That's going to be the road infrastructure, sewer, electrical, sidewalks, those types of things. The hospital, depending on funding, which they've been talking about working on now, that is a 4-year construction from start to finish. The design, the engineering is all done by the hospital already. It is a beautiful facility. They've done an amazing job. It is ready to go. It's just waiting on funding, which they're working on now. And then depending on that funding there, as well as additional funding, we hope within 3 years we'll be doing some of the housing and other commercial amenities around those infrastructure. So it is a long-term project still, because it is a lot of construction, but nonetheless, it's
$1 billion project.
ready to go. It is literally ready to go.
They have like phase 1 and phase 2, so it's
Well, if the hospital's $600 million.
With the combination in total, I think it ends up being $800 million with the demo of the existing, some other things added in there. The structure itself is around $600. There's some other ancillary costs, but yeah, it's a significant project.
you want to talk about the traffic flow for like why we're putting on an on-ramp at J and off-ramp on J? Correct.
The traffic flow is going to flow differently with the new construction in April. So there'll be more connectors to the hospital, one at J4 or J6 that's going to cross from 20th to 15th, and also connectors from 17th, north and south, to J to K, and then it's gone on the east side of 15, or the 15th, it's going to go all the way to 23rd and across to the other street that goes north and south. It's not a numbered street. J5. So there'll be interconnected streets throughout that development to allow better access to the hospital, the new hospital, as well as the existing hospital. So there'll be new road infrastructure in there, so the traffic flow will be much better. It'll tie in with the improvements at Avenue J and Avenue K as the main entrance to the hospital, so that you'll have quick access to those locations from multiple locations.
So is it going to be on the same site, or are we limited across the street?
It is on the same site or the same side of 15th, so it's the corner of J and 15th. but it's going to be further back towards the Home Depot. So the current entrance where all those big palm trees are will be the current entrance that goes directly straight into the new hospital.
So are they going to demo the old building?
They're going to demo the old building, and that's like phase 3 and 4, where there'll be additional medical office buildings, housing, amenities around at the current existing hospital site. They're obviously going to run the hospital while the new one's being constructed. Once it's fully operational, they'll move to those other phases.
Are we going to have to do any bonds or anything like that?
They're working on financing now. I wouldn't make that commitment yet, but they're finalizing it as we're talking now.
Okay, good. Good job.
You want to talk about the homeless, that we can't put the homeless in the old hospital because of the earthquake stuff?
Correct. The hospital, the reason for the demolition of the hospital is that it is obsolete, not only for a hospital, but also additional services because of its earthquake status. So by a certain date, the state of California has required facilities that didn't meet an earthquake standard to be removed.
I just didn't want that coming up later. I have a couple. The AVA QMD has made grants, and you can pick them up at Home Depot, but we're incentivizing, I think, up to $275 for a electric lawnmower. You can actually take your lawnmower over, drop it off. They'll give you a card, take it over to Home Depot, and I think you paid $25 for a $300 or $400 lawnmower. You can also do it for different equipment, blowers, trimmers, everything that's electric. We're doing that in coordination with Lancaster Choice Energy. So about 4 years ago, we did an ordinance that in 5 years, we're going to be, the commercial vendors have to be all electric. So we're doing that to gear up to make sure that all the people, you have to remember one lawnmower is the equivalent of 7 cars. So
Wow.
That's a big statistic.
That is.
To look at. On the Antelope Valley Fair,
Wait a minute, what are we doing to publicize that?
it's on Facebook, it's on in our city website, and on the AVA QND, and Home Depot is partnering with us, and to do everything. So it's a $1 million venture, but it's both the AVA QMD and that, and having them do, it's all exceptional equipment. We've tested all of it. We've done all of the testing and done that. So just for a lawnmower, they give you $275. And I think the lawnmower costs $310.
Wow.
So it's a...
So have we done an email blast to our email list?
I'm getting a nod. Yes, we have.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So on the Antelope Valley Fair, we're moving the dates. Because of COVID, we haven't had the opportunity to have a fair for a couple years. So we decided to really look at it, and if we're not going to have a fair this year, then actually look at creating a new fair. And the new fair that we're going to do, instead of having one 10-day fair, we're going to have 2 fairs. Each one of them will be 5 days long. The one in April, the 5-day, will incorporate the Poppy Festival with it. And that's when we'll have all the motorsports, the demolition derby, all the arena events. And the one in October will have all the concerts. So we're taking it out of August, which is the hottest month, and moving it into the best, where we can have the best weather to do that. For the Kiwanis Junior Livestock Auction, for the first year, we'll have a standalone date in August. So the Junior Livestock Auction will, it'll be standalone for that year. And then from then on, it will be in April when all the students, so we can have students that actually are in school and repopulate that, because the students, because they've changed it out so much, we've lost. We used to have 500 animals. Now we're down to 225. So we want to get it back up to 350, somewhere in there, and that will help us do that. So that's good. For the Antelope Valley Transit Authority, we meet 2 weeks from now, but we were the winner of the Transit Agency of the Year, which is a huge honor for the state of California. It means that we've done things better than anyone else in the state of California as far as a transit agency, and it's a big honor to do that, but we'll do more about that later. Field of Drafts. Went to Field of Drafts. That was a wonderful event. We had about 4,000 people there at all times. They were going in and out. It was just an all-around good event. We had a cleanup.
I heard there was drinking there.
Vice Mayor, we do have a couple videos for those announcements you're going to be making, so if you want to show the video now, we have that for the cleanup.
You want to do the cleanup one?
Well, let's do Field of Drafts, then we got cleanup, and then
do
we've
the
got the
Field of
opening
Drafts
of it.
one,
Yep.
and then we'll go to the.
I was asked, did I go to the beer fest?
Yeah, I didn't do that either.
This is probably the
Ken
event
did.
of the year for the city of Lancaster. Between the weather and the camaraderie, the friends meeting in one location. Again, I can't say enough about Field of Drafts, our best event.
And you want to go into the tidy up? We're doing different segments of the freeway to clean them up in partnership with Caltrans. So I know Raj, Ken, and myself went in there, and we're cleaning it up. Daryl took the month off.
So I noticed that you and Ken didn't actually pick up anything.
You noticed that too, Rex?
Wait a minute, my bag was full.
Actually, Marvin picked the dead cat. So.
Yeah, he had a dead cat.
So he wanted the one.
You barbecued it?
You know, some of us were out there working.
Yes.
Yeah. Notice the video looked like it was in slow motion too. That was actually full speed.
You might think it was slow motion, but it was full speed.
Yes.
And Jason went to comedian school. We did go to Founders Day, which is a team challenge, which is a event that the Ministerial Association is looking to do. Daryl and Ken participated in that with me, and we looked at that. And it's a thing where they take teen youths that are on drugs, alcohol, and they need some type of help. So they take them in. They take them in for a little over a year, and they come out better people. So I think it's a really good event, and I know that you're concerned with it, Rex, but it's a really, really good event to do. Something that we need to.
What do you mean I'm concerned with it? I just want.
To vet it.
I just want things measured.
Yeah, that's.
Right? I mean,
I wanted to put it out that we're looking at it and vetting it to see and make sure that all the teams are treated correctly. Sage Hall opening at the college.
I mean, I don't want you guys having them work at the Field of Drafts, you know?
No,
That's a
we were,
joke, get it, you know?
Sage Hall opening. The bond money that was put through Measure AV for the improvements at, they did Sage Hall. They made a comment, one of the directors made a comment that it was Tumbleweed Tech. When I went to there, it was called Tumbleweed Tech. We did call it Tumbleweed Tech. It was a high school with ashtrays. It is no longer a high school with ashtrays. It is a true college. It is a beautiful place. And I think Ed has done a wonderful job in having the stewards of the money that's over there, done a wonderful job doing that.
Debt-free.
Yep.
We do have a video for that.
Okay.
Okay, play it too. It was a good event. It was a beautiful building. It's wide open. They didn't have too many change orders on it, and they're doing a good job. And the last thing is we went Saturday to an event to honor Daryl Doris, to thank him. It's 1 year of being a councilman and to pay tribute to him, and it was a wonderful event. So
Yeah, you told a wonderful story. He told a story about one of my suits and where I got the material from. It was very interesting.
Right?
Yes, the couch suit.
It was a very interesting story.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool, the way you recycled that couch.
Yeah. Keep thinking that.
Okay, so all of you that don't know the story,
It's time to go to your reports. Go ahead.
I will pull it up real quick. And
Remember, style is in the eye of the beholder.
it is, and that's true. My son had this old couch. It was many years old, and so I finally got rid of it. And I don't know if you guys can see this out there, but that was the couch.
They cannot see that. Thank God for the
young
cameras.
kids.
They
They
cannot
can't
see that. Nor can
can
Lancaster
see
see this. Thank
Well,
God we
anyway,
don't have
it's a
Zoom.
plaid couch.
Do not zoom in.
So I put it out there, and the next week,
Daryl's suit.
Daryl had it on as a suit. So that was the story I
That is
told.
a tailor-made suit.
You know what?
Very exquisite.
Daryl, hats off to you on the recycle side. You do. You ought to get the recycle award.
That's true.
Ken, I thought you loved me.
Recycle.
Okay, moving on.
Thank you, Mayor.
Looking at me, my turn. Thank you. You guys have covered Field of Drafts, and give a shout out to Parks. It was an amazing event. I did your comments, and your attendance was gracious and much needed. Appreciate that. We have a 13th annual, or YMCA is having a turkey trot, November 25th, and then Magical Boulevard Christmas is our next event, Saturday, December 12th. So come out and join us on the Boulevard for a magical Christmas. Starting the holiday season. And MOA will be hosting a moonwalk at the Prime Desert Woodland Preserve on Saturday at 5:30. And LPAC has a great list of shows coming up. Rock and Roll this weekend, Zeppelin and the Femmes of Rock. And you can get tickets at lpac.org. So with that, that's a short recap, and we look forward to everybody participating in those events.
Thank you. City Clerk.
This is the time to address the City Council Agency Authority on non-agendized matters. Speaker cards can be found on the back table of the council chambers. For those who are joining telephonically or virtually and would like to comment on the non-agendized items, please press star 9 at this time. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please keep in mind state law prohibits the City Council from acting on items not on the agenda, and your matter may be referred to the city manager. Thank you. And there aren't any speakers joining telephonically or virtually at this time.
Okay, so Vanessa Hall.
Greetings, members of the council and all who are present today. I am speaking on behalf of Miss Lancaster, Vanessa Hall. My name is Natanya Asapakai, Teen Miss Lancaster. Thank you for granting us the courtesy to consider the draft ordinance that Vanessa and my young Miss Grace Crosher-Body had the opportunity to speak on behalf of in this past July to the Lancaster City Council. Today, I am joined by Grace, and we are here again with the Smoke-Free Outdoor Areas Coalition, this time to express our disappointment in the address of the ordinance being pushed back. We were so pleased to hear of the results from the last few public comments made on behalf of the coalition, in which, Mayor Paris, you asked the city manager to bring forward the proposed ordinance for the next meeting to be introduced to the council for discussion. My court and I had been preparing to speak on that item and express our support for the ordinance. After reviewing the agenda for today's meeting, we were disappointed to find that the ordinance was not on the agenda for discussion. This program is part of something noteworthy, which will only further positively impact the health of our youth. The Smoke-Free Outdoor Areas program has a timeline which is set to conclude at the end of this year, and although we plan to continue to support this ordinance after it is passed, we also have some resources available to offer that are on the same timeline as the program. I know that the City Council has expressed their major area of concern would be the parks because of the vast amounts of litter that were discovered in the playground areas. Although I feel strongly that a comprehensive ordinance would benefit our community, I also feel that making our parks smoke-free is still a major step in that direction. I am here before you to ask that you and the City Council have an open discussion today and consider passing an ordinance to prohibit smoking in all parks as well as outdoor areas where families and children go to enjoy each other's time. Thank you for continuously hearing us out on this issue, and I really hope we can make great strides to protect our youth and others from issues surrounding secondhand smoke exposure. My young Miss Grace has some packets that the coalition has put together that we would love to share with you. We would also love to invite the entire City Council to an event the coalition will be hosting in honor of the Great American Smokeout on November 18th. Where we will be displaying an art piece from a local artist encompassing the litter that was collected at the previous Let's Kick Butts event. We look forward to seeing you there. I would also, sorry?
Did you write that speech?
Vanessa did. Yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of Vanessa.
All right, I'm just impressed is all. That's why I'm asking.
Thank you. I would also like to highlight that at the end of the packets, we have examples of future signage made by a student at Cole Middle School that also supports this program. Thank you for your time.
So it seems to me like the city manager has an explanation.
And I probably have a good one for you. So if you recall, there was some people spoke at our last meeting. They had shared some information that was not in our ordinance. So we asked Sonia, who's been leading the effort, to reach out to them and make sure that the community's involved to make sure that that ordinance represents what they're looking for. So she has set those meetings. They're welcome to join us in that process and to make sure that we have an ordinance that works for everybody.
Does that answer your concerns?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And if you leave your name and number, Sonia will include you in those meetings so you can participate in that process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so it'll be up when?
Well, we'll begin the process, make sure that our ordinance is accurate and accommodates what they're looking for. The ordinance that we put together was without that dialogue. And we want to get their dialogue involved and hopefully get it to you as soon as possible.
Thank you.
So we're not ignoring you. We just
Okay. Thank you.
need to work a little harder on it, right?
We want to do it right the first time.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, good job. I don't remember I don't remember this happening before, where Miss Lancaster actually took an assertive role in the well-being of the community. It's commendable. Thank you. And it's scary too. I know. With Marvin up here, I know how scary that is.
Rex is a big fan of smoking.
Now, you don't believe that, do you?
Stay tuned.
Okay, so Grace, I don't know, I can't read that. You wrote really.
Sorry, that was, we were together.
You were together, okay. But I didn't hear from you. It's okay. Next time, all right? Okay. Thank you. That was a good presentation. You're actually getting something done. David Paul.
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council, good evening. It was a pleasure to come tonight. I would just like to assure the young ladies that government takes more time than you usually think. But I can tell we're all sincere on working on that. Councilman Molly, thank you for your posts on social media for the Youth Impact Group. I mean, that means a lot to those kids to see their faces up there along with the council members and their posts. And Councilman Doris, I watched some of your event the other day, and it seemed like Marvin was in the middle of a roast when it got cut off. So that's all I would like to see sometime is the end of that performance. And I'm very interested in what the first thing you ever said to Marvin was. So thank you. It was entertaining and a pleasure to be here. I love this. This city is a great city, and thanks to everybody for everything you do. I'm glad that I'm able to come back to meetings and enjoy this because it does mean a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I'd like a report next meeting from the summer school programs we funded. I'd like to know, how successful they were, how they measured the success of them. Okay.
I thought they already did that.
Yeah, they did that
You
presentation.
were gone, Rex.
I was gone.
Yeah, you were missing, yeah.
See what happens when you are
I bet you we could get you a video, though.
Yeah, they did a video on it, and they
Did
also
they?
did a
I'd like to see
presentation.
that.
Yeah.
He was smoking.
Was it successful? He was smoking? Okay, good. That is really ugly, Marvin.
Rex, can I say something on the smoking? I want you to have that, but I want the ladies to know that we are taking this serious. I just went to an event with my wife at the Microsoft Theater, and it was some different type of smoking. And it was so thick. My wife suffers from sinuses and allergies, and it was about maybe 5,000 people in there, and about 300 of us had to get up and leave because of how bad it was. So we take that serious, and I want you to know where. And my wife is one that is really, when she saw the meeting last week on some of the presentations, and she really, she's Carol Part 2. And she said, I really want you to take that serious and tell the council I want them to take that serious because it's people like me that can't enjoy when it's in the air like that. So I want you to know that it is something that I believe we will take serious. So I gave the message. Let Rashonda know I gave you the message.
It's amazing how frightened we are of our wives. I mean, universally so.
Being.
Okay, so what else we got? Council comments, anything? I do want to express the council's concern for Laura Betancourt. She's gravely ill, and she has been, sometimes on our side of issues, sometimes opposed to us on issues, but there's never been any question that she has been truly committed to the Antelope Valley for most of her adult life. And it troubles me that she is ill, and we need to, you guys know what we need to do, but we certainly should be expressing to her how grateful we are for everything she has done, and for the courage she's had to participate. And I think you all share that with me, don't you? I don't know how we do that, but, get staff working on something so she can see just how appreciative we are before it's too late. Okay? Thank you. Okay, we're going to go into closed session.
For closed session items 1 through 26 as listed on the agenda.
And we'll reconvene the meeting after closed session, but all we're going to do is come out and tell you we had it and good night, so we're free to leave now. Thank you. And thank you for coming, and thank you for participating.
up from you on the way out.
We are back. City Attorney?
In closed session, the City Council authorized entry into the settlement for the national prescription opiate litigation, as well as authorized the initiation of litigation with regard to flushable wipes as part of a class action. No further reportable action. Both of those were on agenda item closed session 2.
Good.
Unanimous. It was unanimous vote on each item as well.
So, the next meeting, I would like a report on the television station, how we're progressing. Okay, can we do that?
Yes, sir.
I would like that to be a priority. I think that we have to have some credible news. You know what I mean? This whole vaccination thing and how social media has warped it and all. I mean, we have to have some vehicle for legitimate news that, and it's going to fall back on government because I don't see how else it's going to happen. Carol? Oh, the next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, December 14, 2021 at 5 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. I thought it was a good meeting. I'm thrilled with how staff is getting things accomplished. Trelise, you are doing an incredible job. It doesn't go unnoticed. I want you to know that. I mean, for heaven's sakes, we're going to build a hospital? I mean, who does that? You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank
Carol,
you.
my day is done and I'm coming home.